Good day, everyone. We're going to have the physics for engineers chapter 2. So it's all about the vectors. So under the vectors, we're going to have the lessons of two natures of physical quantities, vectors for representation, graphical additional of vectors, graphical subtraction of vectors, graphical techniques, graphical methods, and analytical methods. So vectors. So a quantity that has both magnitude and direction is typically represented by an arrow and whose direction is the same as that of the quantity and those lengths proportionally or proportional to the quantity magnitude. Although vector has magnitude and direction, it does not have position. So it means, so based on our graphical representation, vectors are geometric representation of the magnitude and the direction. So ito yung tinatawag nating magnitude from the tail to head. So yun, ibig sabihin yung buo niyan that will be considered as the magnitude. So, and the direction are often represented by straight arrows. So, straight arrow daw siya. So, starting from the point on a coordinate axis and ending at the different point. All vectors have length. So, ito yung tinatawag nating length or also called the magnitude, which represents some quality of interest so that the vector may be compared to another vectors. So vectors are being arrowed are also have a direction. So kahit saan siya magpunta, it means yun yung tinatawag niyang direction. So the two nature of physical quantities. So we have the scalar and the vector quantities. So scalar are the physical quantity that is completely described by its magnitude. Example, the scalar are volume, density, speed, energy, mass, and time. Yun yung sinusukat niya. Other quantities such as force and velocity have both magnitude and direction are called the vectors. While vectors quantities that inherently with both magnitude and direction, they can be added or subtracted vertically. So based on our given representation, so dito mapapansin nyo yung scalar, ito yung sinusukat niya na measurement. Samantalang dun sa vector, ito naman yung sinusukat niya na measurement. So if you will notice, so based on the given example, we have the point A, B, C, and D, no? So representing the line of red. And displacement, straight line, yung AD, yung ating blue dash line. So ibig sabihin, kung makikita nyo dito, yung displacement niya, anong sinusukat ng displacement? Eto. So, ibig sabihin, ang sinusukat niya is the vector. So, kung mapapansin nyo naman yung dash, so, ibig sabihin, distance from the point A to point D. Ang sinusukat niya is distance. So, ibig sabihin, that is scalar. So, kapag sinabi kasi natin scalar, dinidescribe niya yung single element of a number field such as a real number or often accompanied by a units of measurement. For example, ano tinatawag nating measurement? Yung mga centimeter, meter, so yun siya. So, scalar kasi is usually said as physical quantity that only has magnitude, possibly a sign, or no other characteristic. So, this is in the contrast to vectors na nagde-describe ng several numbers or characterized by their magnitude or direction. So, yung vector quantities natin refers to the physical quantities characterized by presence of both magnitude as well as the direction. So, yung mga, yun nga, eto siya, yung measurement niya. So, we have the graphical addition of vectors. So, first, we're going to have the commutative vectors. Vectors addition is commutative just like addition of real numbers. Para ka lang nag-add, simple lang. So, commutative property, we have the formula of a plus b is equals to b plus a. If based on our given example, if you start from the point P, you end up at the same spot no matter with displacement A or B, you take first. So ibig sabihin, whatever the result is, the A and B, vector A and B, will be yield to the vector C. So this only show that two vectors are interchanged instead of vector A, ito siya, vector A plus the vector B, no? Or it's either vector B plus vector A. So nag-start ka pa rin with the point C. So ang result natin will be obtaining from the vector C, yung gitna. So the vector addition is commutative. So ibig sabihin, pwedeng A plus B mag-yield siya sa vector C, or it's either B plus A mag-yield siya sa vector C. That is almost the same. So we have the graphical addition of vectors from associate. So pagka sinabi nating associate, no? So ibig sabihin, it's composed of three vectors, two or more vectors. So the addition of vectors are also obey the associate law. So just follow the rule of the vector commutative law. So ibig sabihin, the result of adding the vector A and adding the vector C, or the adding the vector A and B and C, is the same as adding the vector B plus C together with the first by adding the vector A. So based on the given representation, if you will notice, the given will be vector A is going upward and the vector B also inclined downward and vector C also downward. So kapag ginamit natin ang associate, take note lang na nag-start tayo from a given point, from the tail to head, then follow by the head, start ulit sa head, papunta dun sa another direction. So ibig sabihin, yung sinasabi nating A plus B, eto siya, A plus B, eto, yung vector natin, will be resulting to A plus B. Eto siya. So kapag daw inad natin yung A plus B plus C, the vector, mag-yield siya sa A plus B plus C, this vector. So yung ano naman sinasabi nating A plus B plus C. So ibig sabihin, nag-start ka from the point A natin. So ito ang point A natin, di ba? So ang gagawin natin is the quantity B, ito yung B, plus C, ayan, plus C, mag-yield siya, ito yung vector niya, A plus B, plus C. So, pagka kinuha natin, pag inad pa natin si A, so ibig sabihin, A quantity B plus C, mag-yield siya sa A plus B plus C. So, ito siya. Next, we have the graphical subtraction of vector. So if you will notice, based on the given computation of commutative and associate, no, addition of vector, ito yung palatandaan. Paano nagiging subtraction ang isang vector? So kapag ikaw ay nag-start from the given point of vector A, then follow by the head, then sa head mag-start ka ulit, dun may start yung tail mo from vector B, that will be resulting from A plus B. Pero kapag naging subtraction siya, A minus B, nag-start ka from a given tail of point A, ito yung vector A mo, then nag-start ka ulit from this point para makuha mo yung kanyang given line from head to head. So ibig sabihin, ito yung point mo, that will be subtraction. So ibig sabihin, A minus B, this will be resulting to your given vector. Next, we have the graphical technique. So these are the following steps to be considered para ma-identify natin yung ating mga given vectors. A diagram is constructed in which the arrow are drawn tail to head to tail except in parallelogram method, wherein it is used as tail to tail. So, tail to tail daw ang ating parallelogram. So, yun yung ating ruling. So, the length of the arrow representing the vector's magnitude are drawn to the scale, or the angles representing direction are shown accurately using a protractor. So, mano-mano yung ating computation. So, number 4, the length of the arrow representing the resultant vector is measured using a ruler. So, length. So, the measured length of the resultant vector will be converted back into the original nature vectors carrying its unit using the scale factor. For you to understand, we're going to have a graphical representation or the method. So, the graphical method, resultant vector of two parallel vectors are the same direction. So, if you will notice, for example, this will be your vector 1 and this will be your vector 2. Either na magkaiba sila ng direction, they are almost the same, no? So, eto siya, downward and isang upward. Then, if you're going to choose this one, upward and downward, pwedeng magkabaligtad. Either of the two yung nasa taas or nasa baba with a different direction is almost the same or parallel to each other. So, when we are talking about the parallel, so two lines are not intersecting with each other. Resultant vector of two parallel vectors of opposite direction. So, magka-opposite direction, but they are focusing on the same angle. Yan. So, we have the graphical methods of the triangle and parallelogram method. So, this is the difference between the two. Okay, let us see. So, based on the given figure, so on triangular method, no, triangle method, this is head to tail method. So, if you will notice, if we are computing for this sector or vector, no, so from the tail, so mag-start ka dito from the vector u. Ito vector u, yung sinasabi natin kanina, nag-start ka ulit from the head, so follow by a tail. Then pupunta ka ulit doon sa vector v, kaya siya naging addition, no? So, ito yung result niya. Pero kung kukunin naman natin itong point na to, no, from a given a triangular method. So, nag-start ka with a given point ka dito, then point ka rito, so that will be subtraction of your given vector. So, sa parallelogram naman, so ibig sabihin, nag-start sila with a given point, same point, pero hindi natin kinuha yung from head to head dito. So, ibig sabihin, kinuha natin yung mismong middle point niya or yung mismong middle vector niya. So, ibig sabihin, you are places with your vector C, no? Then, you are given with the vector V. So, the result will be addition pa rin. So, hindi naman ito yung kinuha natin eh. So, kung ang point mo ay nasa tail U ka, at tail nag-start ka dito, so pagka kinuha mo to, this line, yung line dito ang kukunin mo, so that will be minus. Pero sa parallelogram, ang kinukuha natin is the middle part, that will be addition. So, we have the analytical methods na ginagamit natin for computing the different units or yung tinatawag nating angle, no? We have the law of cosine. So, this will be the formula for the law of cosine. So, we have the a squared equals sa b squared plus c squared minus 2 or yung tinatawag nating twice b c cosine a. So, kung mapapansin nyo, yung different natin dito, capital and small letter. So, eto siya, yung distance niya, no? For example, the A. So, this will be your A. Based on the given triangle method, A, yung side, adjacent, and opposite. So, depende sa viewpoint ng tao kung paano niya gagamitin yung mismong the triangle. So, for law of sine, so we are getting the angle. Angle naman ang kinukuha natin dito. Kumbaga, sine A. Alin ba ang sine A? Ito, no? Over the side A. Ito siya. Pero kung titignan mo siya in triangle na hihiga mo siya, this will be your adjacent, no? This will be your side and this will be your hypotenuse. So, ganun ang pagtingin yan. Pagka ikaw ay sine B, so this will be your sine B over side ka. Pagka ikaw ay sine C, ito kinukuha mo, that will be over the hypotenuse. Okay, we have the Pythagorean theorem. So, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na representation of a given triangle. Pag ganito, ibig sabihin, we are given y-axis and x-axis. Kung directly ganyan yung magiging figure ng inyong triangle, you can identify the parts. So, this will be your adjacent, this will be your hypotenuse, and this will be your side. So, ibig sabihin, this will be the representation of every para makuha mo yung mga distance nila, at the same time makuha mo rin yung kanilang angle. So based on the Pythagorean theorem, ang ginagamit natin doon is you are in a right triangle, no? So ibig sabihin perpendicular ang inyong x and y axis, so ibig sabihin lang naman din natin dito is pwede na nating makuha yung mismong hypotenuse. Just double the A and double the B, so you will get the hypotenuse C squared. So minsan pagka given yan, madali mo nang makukuha yung mga unknown data natin. So same with trigonometric function. So eto po, so yung binabanggit natin kanina, so ibig sabihin you have a given theta, no? So eto yung tinatawag nating adjacent or the side or the opposite side, and we have the hypotenuse. So y will be your opposite or your side, and x will be your adjacent, and r will be your hypotenuse. Kapag sine ang kinukuha natin, so ibig sabihin we have the formula of the opposite over the hypotenuse. Just divide para makuha mo yung angle na to. So we have the cosine na pag given point. So we have x or the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Kapag naman tangent, we have the opposite over the adjacent. Kapag naman cosecant, we have the kabaligtaran lang yon nung sine, cosine, and tangent. So we have the cosecant, we have the r o yung tinatawag nating hypotenuse over the opposite. So cosecant, ang kabaligtaran niya is the sine, no? And we have the secant, ang kabaligtaran ni secant is the cosine. So baligtarin mo lang yung formula ni cosine na x over r. So that will be r over x. And cotangent, baligtarin mo lang si tangent, y over x. That will be x over y. So we have the components of method. So rectangular resolution method, so for 2-dimensional system and for 3-dimensional system. Pagka sinabi nating 3-dimensional, so ibig sabihin marami na siyang vectors involved, no? Okay, so almost the same lang naman kanila. Let's have the representation. Resolve the given vectors into x, y, and z components. So eto siya. So we have the x, eto, y, eto, and z component. So for 2-dimensional system and 3-dimensional system, pinagsasabay natin. Determine the algebraic sum of x, y, and z. So kukuhin natin yung algebraic sum. So what will be the algebraic sum? So ibig sabihin, ito yung kinukuha natin, no? So same din naman sila lahat. The vector A or the vector A of x plus the A of y and A of z. So almost the same. Number 3, consider the algebraic sum or components of the resultant. So, resultant naman yung ating kinukuha o yung mismong R. No? So, for you to get the different components of the dimensional system, so, anuhin muna natin determine the magnitude of the resultant using Pythagorean theorem, or yung tinatawag nating summation of x, summation of y equals the resultant. No? And compute for the direction of angle made by the resultant, or yung tinatawag nating tangent. Tapos dito, compute the angle by the resultant. O, kasi tatlo naman kasi yung kinukuhang measure dito. So, dito kasi, pagka 2 angle, ito lang, pwedeng ito makuha mo. Dito, cosine. So, yung based on our given sa analytical method of the given triangle. So, marami kang pwedeng computein. So, if we're going to have the summation, for example, summation of x squared, ito yun, no? Plus y, ito yun. So, what will be the resultant? This one. Dito siya. Sa magnitude of 2 lines. Yan. Na. Pero kapag sa 3 dimension, summation of x squared, ito, plus the summation of xy, ito, plus the summation of x, ito. Pero kung titignan mo yung mismong triangle, ito siya. No? Parang pag ganun, patusok. Yan. Tapos makukuha mo yung nandito sa gitna. So, that will be your resultant. So, in terms of the direction of the angle, so, summation of x, ito siya. xy, ito siya. Tapos, summation of x. So, ibig sabihin, nandito yung kinukuha mong angle or the tangent. Kapag compute for directional angle made by the resultant, yun nanditong resultant natin, no? Summation of x, tsaka yung r natin, yung resultant na nandito. So, nanditong angle yung kukuhanin mo. Depende sa representation of your given data. So, just follow the analytical method. So, ito kasi yung magiging basis mo to compute for the 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional system na gagamitin mo. So, that is the end of our lesson 2. So, thank you and have a nice day.